But I'd like to sort of pass on my thanks to the sort of partnership who obviously invited me here today to talk about the work that's ongoing in West Dunbartonshire. I don't want to downplay it at the beginning. What we're doing in West Dunbarton is probably not revolutionary, but it's something that maybe you can sort of take back to your own organisation, because it's relatively simple and it is effective sort of going forward. So my presentation today will sort of focus on a key element of our sort of strategic empty homes approach in West Dunbartonshire that brings empty homes back into use as social housing within the area. I aim to look at some of the local context as why we're doing it in West Dunbartonshire, and about this approach in West Dunbartonshire as well. But what I want to sort of emphasise is the sort of strong linkages between the work empty homes, like the empty homes officer does within the local authority, but also to the key ambitions of other sort of strategic housing priorities and policies going forward. And what I hope to I'm getting a wee bit ahead of myself there. So, and what I also hope to do is to describe how we've done it in West Dunbartonshire and how that can be replicated across the country and other sort of local authority areas as well, working in sort of partners. Housing associations have got the housing stock, but also working with partner housing associations as well. So in terms of the local context, in West Dunbartonshire we have what the Cabinet Secretary was talking about earlier on, and the convener for housing from sort of Stirling Council about the acute housing need across the sort of country. In West Dunbartonshire, that's very much an acute housing need we have. We're a small urban local authority. Homelessness levels are very high. I don't know if MD here for Inverclyde, but a relatively sort of similar local authority area, but you're 7 times more likely to have to go through the homelessness route in West Dunbartonshire than you do in Inverclyde. So that's quite a stark sort of figure. Homelessness is sort of quite skewed across the demographic in West Dunbartonshire as well, is that we've particularly issues with young people having to sort of present as homeless to get a suitable housing solution. And that's maybe to do with this wider housing market in West Dunbartonshire that I'll talk a wee bit more about. Some of that's due to a bit of the legacy of right to buy going forward, and sort of terms of what we're left with is a bit of a waiting list mismatch. We have an oversupply of a sort of 2-bedroom flatted accommodation in West Dunbartonshire. What we don't have within the affordable sector is enough 1-bedroom accommodation for sort of starter accommodation for sort of young people, houses for people with particular needs sort of going forward as well. We don't have enough of those, and one we've sort of looked at, and one we're going to sort of prioritise over the course of the next year, is that we don't have enough homes for larger families. At the moment we've got 281 large families within West Dunbartonshire that are either looking for accommodation 5 bedrooms and above, and we just don't have that sort of type of accommodation within this sort of social and affordable sort of sector. So really, again, in terms of addressing that mismatch, we need more homes in the right size and the right sort of type, and obviously in the right place. And that is what's sort of borne out our wider More Homes West Dunbartonshire approach, which sort of brought together our new build sort of delivery, which is overseen about 500 new council homes over the course of the last sort of 5 years. But it's also overseen our buyback sort of policy. And it's a buyback sort of policy that I'll sort of concentrate a wee bit more on sort of today's sort of presentation. And I think in sort of terms of that, the sort of response, because the need is alarming in West Dunbartonshire in sort of terms of housing solutions for our citizens. So like I say, the need is there. So the response has to be focused, sort of going forward, and that's really where our approach to empty homes is aligned to other sort of strategic priorities. It's very much high focus reference within the local housing strategy, which was just refreshed at the beginning of, the end of last year. But it's also gets key linkages to our approach to homelessness through this rapid rehousing transition plan, but also it's very much evidence in terms of the buyback approach through the strategic housing investment plan, so going forward. In terms of our empty homes approach, we've got four sort of key sort of strategic priority areas there that all align sort of going forward. So they won't be too dissimilar for other areas as well, but what we're looking at is to maximise the reuse of empty homes within the sort of communities, reduce the number of long-term empty properties as a sort of key priority, help to alleviate the effects of homelessness and the waiting list in West Dunbartonshire, which I've sort of spoke about and sort of gave some sort of context there. But also what we're looking to do is sort of support some sort of town centre sort of regeneration as a priority in sort of terms of empty homes as well. I'll be looking at repurposing some both residential and sort of commercial sort of properties within the area and sort of bring those back into life and make our sort of town centres more lively and more sort of welcoming sort of going forward. What we'll do is sort of back in sort of terms of like where the buyback sort of policy came from was back in sort of 2018. We developed a sort of policy to bring back primarily former local authority homes. We had a modest budget, somewhere in the region of £250,000 that was funded for the House and Revenue account, sort of capital sort of fund. So we were looking there at bringing 5 homes roughly in a year. So it was a modest sort of development just to sort of supplement what we were doing in sort of terms of the sort of the wider sort of more homes approach. The intention was to, without getting political, to sort of right the wrongs, albeit modestly, off the right to buy. But very, very early on, we did see this sort of clear alignment between the work of empty homes and sort of Karen, our empty homes officer that's in the audience today, sort of quickly sort of picked up on that some of the empty homes within our estates and within our sort of communities were former sort of council homes, former housing association homes that had been used through the right to buy. And for one reason or the other, they'd sort of fell into sort of disrepair. They were now sort of becoming a sort of blight in the sort of community. A number of the homes were in really sort of poor condition. They were causing neighbourhood decline. So the benefits of those, bringing them back into use, were very much sort of visible and very much to the fore. And like allied to that in sort of terms of the impact on the neighbourhoods, but what we're sort of talking about earlier in terms of the waiting list is it was clear there was quite a sort of close alignment there to take forward a sort of strategic priority in increasing the number of social homes within West Dunbartonshire as part of the empty homes work. But at that point, we had a big sort of dilemma, the sort of key issue and the sort of key sort of political steer, both in terms of a local government, the sort of local members, but also for the sort of Scottish government at that point. The key focus was on about new supply, new build, and the impact that can have in the economy sort of going forward as well. So we sort of, the buybacks were sort of slightly sort of put to the side, and where we felt we could expand, we were almost sort of kept in our box a wee bit, like in sort of terms of we were actually sort of turning down opportunities to buy. So we did sort of develop that sort of further, and I think it was like what we wanted to do is to put this sort of clear business case that what we were doing in sort of terms of buybacks was complementary to the more homes approach, and it certainly wasn't going to sort of dilute the ambition about sort of new build. And some of the sort of things we sort of looked at sort of there as well in sort of terms of building that business case going forward. In terms of like an average buyback, it probably takes about 3 months from the initial contact either made by the empty homes officer, sort of Karen, or by the owner sort of seeking sort of assistance from the sort of local authority. If you equate that, it takes probably, and like with a fair wind, and we've not had many of these sort of lately, but it takes about 18 months to build a house from sort of scratch once you go through the sort of planning process. So that's 15 months sort of quicker to get there in sort of terms of there. So it was a real option for sort of Karen in sort of terms of the empty homes work, for the empty homes officer to engage with owners. It was the policy like made it simple for them to engage, and there was a solution there. Because a lot of the times, and sort of Karen will sort of testify to this, that a lot of times, and it might sound daft because like a home is like a very much a sort of a key asset, but sometimes a home like was a burden to the homeowners. They maybe never had this the financial wherewithal to do anything with it. It was a sort of burden around their neck. They maybe inherited it for the sort of sad passing of their parents, etc. The buyback option really sort of took that burden away from the owner. But it also, the other sort of side of the coin for that, it also then benefited our citizens in sort of terms of bringing a home back into use. And that was very much the ethos behind the sort of policy. The economic case is very sort of strong as well. What's happened over the last sort of couple of years, from sort of COVID to the war in Ukraine, to like the whole sort of cost of living sort of crisis, and the sort of the build up in inflation, is that the cost to build new houses has obviously went like sort of very much sort of north. And in sort of terms of our sort of current sort of tender prices we're getting in, to build like a 5-bedroom home probably costs in excess of £300,000 to meet our sort of quite sort of laudable sort of design standard. Where we slightly benefit in sort of some of the economic factors in West Dunbartonshire is we've got maybe it's an area of high levels of sort of deprivation. The housing market's maybe not as buoyant as some other areas, so on average you could buy a large family home in West Dunbartonshire for in the region of about £100,000. So if you equate that, it's like about 3 times less than what it costs to sort of build a house. So the economic argument's sort of fairly strong there for bringing that house back into use as social housing. So it's very much like in sort of terms of the success, we sort of built on our buyback policy. So from the opening sort of gambit of having that sort of £250,000, we now are in the region of sort of £2 million a year in sort of terms of the buyback budget. What we're looking at is from the original 5 a year, from next year we're looking at sort of developing 50, because we are now being supported in sort of terms, because the clear alignment with the local housing strategy and the SHIP is that the buybacks are now supported by affordable housing supply programme funding, which is another benefit. So the envelope in terms of the housing revenue account money can go longer. And possibly by the end of today, the West Dunbartonshire Council's budget meetings today, there's a proposal that would be expanded to £4 million a year. So that's sort of doubling that sort of going forward. So there's a real sort of commitment there. There's a real appetite in sort of terms of the local communities. The buyback sort of policy and the bringing empty homes sort of back into use is like in the last tenant satisfaction survey, it was really viewed as one of the most proactive and the most sort of popular sort of council initiatives by our sort of tenants, sort of feeding back. And again, and maybe sort of going back to this sort of dual purpose of both adding to our housing stock, sort of changing the sort of legacy and sort of changing some of the sort of the script in sort of terms of the right to buy, but also improving areas, bringing those sort of houses back into use was a sort of clear sort of win-win in sort of terms of the sort of communities that we serve. In terms of sort of buybacks, we do have a sort of strong criteria around in sort of terms of the buyback assessment. Karen and the audience as well, like sort of triggers that in sort of terms of one of the priority areas in sort of terms of the buybacks and criteria is if it's an empty home being sort of brought back into use. And Karen would link in well with the More Homes team within the sort of council in sort of terms of bringing that back into new supply, and sort of carries out the assessment within a sort of couple of hours. So that aligns in sort of terms of the wider empty home strategy, but also aligns in sort of terms of what the need is in West Dunbartonshire in sort of terms of homes. And what I spoke about earlier is from sort of 23-24, we will be focusing on larger family homes and sort of trying to bring those back into use as part of the buybacks. Obviously they'll cost a bit more, but with the expanded budget that will allow us to sort of target that, and certainly sort of target the sort of housing need within the local authority area. I've got like just a couple of examples of where it's sort of benefited sort of from. So this is a sort of property in Clydebank in West Dunbartonshire. It was left in as you can see there, a sort of state of disrepair. This was what it sort of looks like now in sort of terms of sort of bringing that sort of back forward. So what we've got here is that this property that used to look like that is now a home to a family of 5. And that's really what we're all about in sort of terms of meeting the housing needs sort of going forward. This other property is that what we have done, and I sort of spoke about like the fact that we aligned mostly the sort of buyback intentions to former local authority homes. We have sort of diversified that now, so we're sort of targeting probably less traditional homes and maybe in less traditional council areas. But that's like a good thing as well, because it adds to the they appeal with the wider sort of buyback. So this is a sort of property, again, in the sort of Clydebank area, that we bought with the primary intention of accommodating an elderly couple that had sort of particular issues. They were inappropriately housed within the sort of the council's house and stock. So the property, like we sort of purchased, like I think it was £110,000. This one, so it's slightly higher than our average budget. Cost about £3,000 to bring it up to the Scottish Housing Quality Standard. And what we've done is that family, that elderly couple, are now accommodated within this home. Their housing needs being met. They were inappropriately housed in a sort of larger family home, like literally about 400 yards up a hill and sit around a corner. That home is now being used for a family that was previously homeless, and obviously the person that had the sort of property that was a burden. So that's 3 households for the one transaction that are benefiting from that, and you can see the impact that can have, and sort of bringing up like an area there which for years Cairn had emails and phone calls from sort of dissatisfied neighbours sort of complaining about the sort of state of this accommodation because it was a good residential area. So in terms of where we are in terms of the new home, so we've had 25 buyback purchases in 22-23 to date. There'll be a few that will conclude before the end of the financial year. I'm sort of hopeful. 19 of these were empty homes. So previously, in sort of terms of our sort of classification of empty homes, that they've been lying empty for longer than sort of 6 months. Some obviously more complex than others. Some were that sort of key burden. But what we are doing is expanding that sort of criteria, sort of targeting those sort of larger homes, moving out of the traditional former local authority, former like sort of council areas. We're looking at sort of diversifying the sort of stock sort of there as well. But the sort of key thing is about sort of targeting what needs out there in sort of terms of the housing needs. So we try and eliminate that mismatch. As I told you, the figure about the 218 families that are either in temporary accommodation or inappropriately housed because of the sort of large family group they've got, and we just don't have that the housing stock at the moment. So it's about maximising what we can do and not diluting the sort of new build activities that are going on. So the plan for 23-24 is to deliver 50 buybacks over the sort of course of that year. A lot of these will be prioritised. You've seen the sort of ratio there. It'll be a clear outcome from the empty homes work. There's a wee bit of, sort of word of mouth. It's a bit of a success story because, like, once you hear about one example, then Cairn's approached by somebody else looking for that solution as well. So it's a good workable solution that can be sort of replicated. And it's a key outcome, I suppose, for us is we're delivering more homes in West Dunbartonshire. We're meeting that acute housing need that I spoke about earlier. We're doing it at a fraction of the cost to build new homes, and the sort of time factor there as well, so we can actually respond sort of quicker to particular sort of needs that are out there in this sort of community. So that's me, a whistle stop tour in terms of what's happening in West Dunbartonshire. Contact details there. Unfortunately, I won't be around for the rest of the day, but Cairn, who's in the audience, I can't quite, just over there, Cairn's about, if people want to sort of speak to Cairn about our approach in West Dunbartonshire. But like I said at the beginning, I've not told you anything that's revolutionary. It's relatively sort of straightforward. It can be replicated. The big commitment I suppose we've made is that the £2 million, which might be £4 million by the end of the day, is obviously coming for the house and revenue account, but the benefit that the tenants, the sort of tenant movement and sort of tenant leaders are very much supportive of this approach in sort of terms of delivering new homes, and they can see it happening a lot quicker than in maybe the new build. But the key point, I suppose, that I kept on sort of talking about there, this is a additionality, and it's not diluting the new build ambition, because the two of them can certainly sort of work in parallel. So I'll stop there, and I'm quite happy to answer any particular questions.
You say it's not revolutionary, John, but I thought the figure that you quoted about starting with a budget of, I think it was £250,000 and getting to £2 million, is pretty significant. If that could be replicated all over Scotland, that would be great. So thank you very much for your presentation. And as John said, does anyone have any questions for him? And if there are any questions online, I'm hoping someone will convey those.
We can
to me. Should we take the online ones first, would you mind?
Nothing from online's come through yet, but if we get anything, I'll let you know.
Great, thank you. In which case, it's over to you. And could you speak as loudly as you can, just so our online... Good.
Thank you, John.
And
Appreciate
maybe
that.
say who you are and organisation. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So my name is Catherine Gunderson. I'm founder of a technology startup called Grand Bequest, and we're building technology to help get empty buildings back into use. We're prioritizing social and affordable housing. Everything you just said, big fan. My question for you is about what are the lessons learned? What was like the biggest mistake that you guys think you made? And how can we get it from 50 to 500 to a much more aggressive number? Because I think there's a lot of opportunities. I know West Dunbartonshire is relatively small, but there's an idea there that I feel like you were probably an expert on. What are the things that we did wrong, and what are the things that we can do to get it even bigger?
I think going back to the beginning, it's a good question, and I wouldn't even harbour the ambition of being an expert, but I think, and like the sort of lessons learned is that we maybe were too modest in sort of terms of the ambition to begin with. That, and what we probably done, and this is, I suppose, is like what happens in sort of local authorities, because the resourcing is quite can be sort of finite, is that we almost tempered that ambition at the beginning. We've like, so there's opportunities lost. So I mean, sort of Karen and our sort of colleagues, sort of Jackie, in terms of the more homes will be able to sort of vouch is we probably lost the opportunity to sort of purchase quite a lot of homes at that early part, just because we've only got sort of 250,000, and we sort of we're more concerned with the numbers, so we concentrated our efforts at the beginning on one bedroom properties, because we could get more of those sort of type thing. And I think what we then lost sight of was the ambition, and what the policy intention was to meet housing need, and the more acute housing need is for larger families. So we have addressed it sort of now, but that's probably like, I mean, sort of lessons learned, and it was a wee bit of sort of poverty ambition at the beginning, but that's now been rectified. The other thing probably is about, again, like, it's very much a sort of partnership approach, and there's other sort of parts of the organisation there as well. We've moved away sort of from it, but initially it was like you can't buy that house in that area because that's not a former council house. So our building services colleagues were saying they wouldn't know how to fit a kitchen or change a tap in a house that wasn't a traditional council house, and that was just, so it was like almost, we sort of kept our ambition down there because people were saying, well, we don't do that. So, but now we do, and you can see there for the sort of case example there that we've expanded.
And you manage all the properties within the council. You don't have a secondary firm.
No, we've like West Dunbartonshire's one. It's at 26. They still got like 26 local authorities. They still got their own housing stock. So we do that as well. But this sort of approach is that we've spoken about this approach to our partner housing associations in the area, and one in particular, it's in fact two have sort of taken this forward as well. So it's not just the council that's sort of doing this in West Dunbartonshire. There's a sort of couple of other housing associations that's very much at the forefront of this as well, and long may that continue.
Sorry, I'm blinded here. Lady at the back.
My question is...
Could you speak up just a little?
Sure.
And maybe say who you are?
Yes. Hi, I'm Anu Kassim, MD Homes Officer from Aberdeen City Council. And my question is just to find out if you've explored or if you've used buyback, if you've linked buybacks with CPOs before. So if, for example, there's a property that maybe the owner's not engaging, but it maybe was once council owned and would tick all the boxes for a buyback. Is it something that you've explored, or do you have has there been experience of using that? I just want to know if that's something you've explored.
Thanks. Another good question. We've not went down the full route in terms of the CPOs, but it's something we looked at, and Karen and our colleagues are actually, like, over the course of the next month, are developing a sort of CPO policy for us. That it's something we would do, and something that if that, like, just in sort of terms of that, because the CPO route would be cleaner if there's a desired intention for it, sort of type thing. So we've not done it yet, but we would seek to do it if it brings the opportunity to bring a a home back into use, and we are sort of developing that. We can lead in that, but we're the sort of legal team sort of taking that forward. But we've not done it yet, but we would intend to do it, and it wouldn't deter us from the ultimate goal and increasing the supply.